WoW Season of Discovery is all about finding and collecting powerful runes, and some are hidden in different zones or locked behind hidden quest chains. I covered in a previous video the first easy 4 runes you can get by level 10 as a paladin, which I'll link down below, and in this one we're going to talk about the next 6. These 6 can all be gained between level 10 and early level 20s, in the areas of Westfall, Stormwind, Loch Modan, and Redridge, kind of the areas you'd go to in that 10 to 20 range. So if you find this useful, consider subscribing for more. I make a ton of Season of Discovery content, and I'll make more as the game evolves. But let's get straight into this. First up, the Seal of Martyrdum, a very powerful seal that gives you a huge damage boost early on. This quest for this seal starts in Stormwind. You go visit Brother Romulus in the Stormwind Cathedral, and he'll tell you to head down into the catacombs. So head down to the very bottom of this, and you'll find a letter with a clue leading you to an island. So head out to this island. The island is just where you find Hogger. So it's kind of like southwest of Elwyn Forest before you get to Westfall. And you go to this island, speak to the person here, and you'll start the dialogue will start a fight. Beat the person in the fight, they'll kind of submit, and they'll give you the rune. Easy as that. Next up, the Hand of Reckoning, the one rune that paladins have always wanted, a taunt. Not only that, but it's a taunt that gives you mana gain and a damage reduction. So to get this, you need to fight a level 20 mob in the southeast of Westfall called the Defias Drone. But there's a much easier way to do this. If you go into Loch Modan and go into Stone Splitter Valley, you kind of, when you first go into Loch Modan and you get like Defense of the King's Land and you go, you know, where all those mobs are, go into there and just head north. Keep going into the more difficult mobs and you'll find the caves. Go into one of the caves, and at the very back of the cave is a big pool of water. Jump into there, open the chest, and you get the Librum of Justice. This is easier because you can kind of just, there's enough players normally at this time that you can just run straight through. There's lots of people pulling these mobs. And if you don't, you can just run in, pop your defensives, and just jump in, res there, and loot it. However you get this Librum from either the Defias mob or from the pool of water, you need to equip this Librum, and then there is a task to defeat 10 enemies stunned by your Hammer of Justice. So simply hit them with the Hammer of Justice, stun them, then defeat them. Once you've done this 10 times, right-click the Librum, and you get the rune. That's it for that one. Okay, next up, hopefully these are in order of how difficult they are, and this one is increasing the difficulty, the Horn of Lordaeron. So this is a really cool rune that lets you blow a horn and give the whole party a strength and agility buff. Really useful if you have other paladins in your party that are all giving out buffs already, or you just want an easier way to buff everyone all at once. Now again, this is doable in Westfall, but it is much easier in Loch Modan. You need to go get another Librum. If you're in Loch Modan, you just head to the main tavern, go downstairs, and it's just there on a table to be looted. It doesn't get much easier than that. However, if you're in Westfall and you just can't be bothered to go there, you just don't want to deal with the trip, you can do it here. But you need to defeat undeads. They drop from an undead. I don't know of many undeads in Westfall that spawn reliably, but I know of one, and I can show it. So you want to head to this cave here in the Gold Coast Quarry. Head to the very back, and there is an undead that spawns called the Undying Labourer. Now, after the first few times you beat him, he'll just drop to the ground and then get straight back up again because he's undying. But after a few times, he will fully go down and you can loot the Librum. This is fairly challenging if you're a solo because there's a lot of dense mobs here and they spawn really fast. But when I was here, there were tons of people grinding quest items here, so you might be able to party up and get this. It's doable if you don't want to go all the way to Loch Modan. But yeah, that's another one. And then once you get the Librum, either of these 2 ways, you just have to bless 5 different players. So just put a blessing on a random player 5 times, 5 different players, and you get the rune. That's it. Okay, next up, we're going for the higher levels now. This is going to start into the 20s. You want to be around 20 for this, and you want to head into Redridge Mountains. And you'll probably want to group up because this is a hard one. You might want to find some other paladins. If you can't find any at the quest location, reach out in general chat because this is a rough one. But we're going for Avengers Shield, the rune where you throw your shield into a group of enemies and daze them all. Amazing for tanks. To get this, we need to defeat a rare spawning mob that can spawn across Redridge Mountains. The best place for this that I've seen it spawn here every time I've gone there, is the very northwest of the map outside of the Black Rock Cave. I'll show it now. If you head here, there's a big group of Black Rock enemies that are pretty tough solo. And right in the middle of them spawns a level 23 elite called Drozem the Blasphemous. You want to group up, clear the camp, and zerg down Drozem as soon as you find him. Once you beat him, you just loot him for the rune. There's no Librum or anything. You just loot him and take it. But this is a pretty tough fight. We had a group and we found this quite hard. We, a couple of people, dropped here. It was a tough fight. So definitely be prepared for this. But luckily, there is a lot of people up here getting this rune at the same time, hopefully. So try and find a group. Next up, the Exorcist rune. Now this one, you need to be around level 24. But you can start it earlier. You can start it early 20s if you're feeling confident. And it's in Duskwood. So this lets us cast Exorcist on any target, even non-undead. So it's quite a powerful rune to have as part of your toolkit. To get this, we head over to the Jorgen farmstead in southern Duskwood. There are a lot of Defias here and some of them are invisible, so be very careful if you're solo and you just want to defeat them. You want to defeat quite a few. I think it took me like 10 before I got mine. So you want to just keep grinding here and defeat as many as you can. And one of them will drop the Librum of Banishment. Now, where you need to be 24 is to equip the Librum. You need to be 24, you need to learn Turn Undead, and then you can equip this Librum. Once you do, you just cast Turn Undead on 5 undead enemies, which you can do all over Duskwood. So that's it, and then you get this rune. And then finally, let's talk about the last one, a very popular and powerful healing rune. Now, to get this, it's based around this new system in Season of Discovery with supply. So as you play the game and as you fight monsters, you'll get these supply chests. And these won't be related to your specific profession. So you could be a blacksmither and a mining person, and you could find a supply crate that asks for 20 potions or 15 leather. But you should always pick these crates up. Even if you don't think you can fill it or you don't have the professions to fill it, you should pick these up. If you go to any major city, there is a supply vendor. For example, in Stormwind, just outside of the auction house, you'll find the supply vendor there. And you can trade in these supply boxes to earn your reputation with the Azeroth Commerce Authority. And there's a similar one for the Horde. Now, as you trade these in, you'll get more and more rep. And the reason it's so important to pick these up no matter what is you can hand them in empty or filled. Either way, you either get a large amount of rep if they're full or a small amount if they're empty. And you want to just keep handing these in. What I do is I just take whatever I can. I go into the town. If I've got a friend who's a crafter, I'll ask them, or I'll go into the auction house and try and buy the things to fill it. If I can't fill it, I just hand it in empty and go out and get another one. What you want to do is keep handing these in until you get enough rep that you become honored with this faction. Once you become honored, you can access their shop and you can buy the rune for 4 gold 50. And that's it. That's 6 more runes that you can find fairly easy and you can work towards obtaining before max level. If you follow this video and maybe the one before which had the 4 starter runes, you should be on your way to 10 out of 12 runes. The last 2 are a little longer and more complex and take you kind of much further around the map, so I'll make a separate video on those. But if this has helped and you like this format of video condensing multiple runes into one, consider subscribing for more, as I've been making them on multiple classes, and I'll be making more Season of Discovery content as the game evolves. But that's it for this video. The only other thing to say is if you have any other tips on stuff talked about here, let me know in the comments, because there's stuff being found about these runes all the time, and there might be easier ways to do things than what I've mentioned here. So I'd love to hear down below if there is. One I'd really want to know about is if you found a way to get these the supply crate experience, the rep, faster. Maybe there's a really fast way to get the rep. I'd love to know that. So let me know down below if there is, if you found any really fast way or really cool way. That'd be interesting. But that's it for this video. Take care. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.